Hi, this is Amie at the Virtual Planetarium at Raritan Valley Community College. Let's take a look at some of the things we can see in the sky for the week of March 14th, 2021. I'll start with our upcoming moon phases. We're going to have a first quarter moon on March 21st, a full moon on March 28th, and a last quarter moon on April 4th. This week, the sun is rising a little after 7 a.m. and it's setting a little after 7 p.m. And noontime has shifted an hour because now we're in daylight savings time. So instead of noon being, or the sun being at its highest point at around 12, it's now at its highest point in the sky at about 1 p.m. Today is Pi Day. What is Pi Day? It's a fun holiday to celebrate the mathematical constant pi and an excuse to eat lots of pie. It's celebrated in countries that follow the month, day, date format because the digits in the date, March 14th, or 314, are the first three digits of pi. People celebrate by eating pie, having contests to recite as many digits of pi as possible, and dress up as Albert Einstein because March 14th is also his birthday. The Greek letter pi is the symbol used in mathematics to represent a constant, the ratio of the circumference of a circle to its diameter, which is approximately 3.14159. How many decimal places does NASA use? There's an infinite number of decimal places for pi. Does NASA use just 3.14? Or do they go crazy and use 100? According to Mark Rubin, who works at Jet Propulsion Laboratory, for JPL's highest accuracy calculations, which are for interplanetary navigation, they use 15 decimal places. Well, why not more? The most distant spacecraft from Earth is Voyager 1. It's about 12.5 billion miles away. Let's say we have a circle with a radius of exactly that size, or 25 billion miles in diameter. And we want to calculate the circumference, which is pi times the radius times 2. Using pi rounded to the 15th decimal, that comes out to a circumference of a little more than 78 billion miles. We don't need to be concerned here with exactly what the value is, but rather what the error in the value is by not using more digits of pi. In other words, by cutting off pi at the 15th decimal point, we could calculate a circumference for that circle that is only very slightly off. It turns out that our calculated circumference of the 25 billion mile diameter circle would be wrong by 1.5 inches if we used 15 decimal instead of 100 decimal places. Think about that. We have a circle more than 78 billion miles around, and our calculation for that distance would be off by perhaps less than the length of your little finger. That's not much to worry about. We can do a similar calculation for Earth. Its diameter is 7,926 miles at the equator. The circumference then is 24,900 miles. How far off would your odometer be if you used the 15-digit version of pi instead of 100? It would be off by the size of a molecule. So 15 decimal places works for NASA. Also happening this week is, finally, the start of spring. The vernal equinox is on March 20th. On the equinox, the sun is directly over the equator. The sun rises due east and sets due west. Everywhere on Earth gets about 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of darkness. March is also Women's History Month, so let's meet some more women who have contributed to astronomy. Heidi Hamel is a planetary astronomer who has studied our solar system's outer planets, their rings and moons. She led the Hubble Space Telescope team that studied the impact of comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 with Jupiter in July 1994. She's also used the Hubble and other Earth-based observatories to study Uranus and Neptune. She's an award-winning communicator of science, having the unique ability to communicate to a range of levels from kindergarten to postgraduate students. Carolyn Shoemaker is an American astronomer and co-discoverer of comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 that impacted Jupiter in 1994. She once held the record for the most comets discovered by an individual. She's credited with discovering or co-discovering 32 comets and over 800 asteroids. Sally Ride was the first American woman to travel in space. She joined NASA in 1978, the first time women were invited to apply to the astronaut program, and in 1983 made her first journey on the Challenger space shuttle. As a mission specialist, her job was to work the robotic arm, helping to put satellites into space. After she left NASA in 1987, one of the projects Sally created was EarthCam, which allows middle school students to take pictures of Earth using a camera on the International Space Station. Jill Tarter is an American astronomer best known for her work on the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. She is the former director of the Center for SETI Research. She is deeply involved in the education of future scientists. Many people are familiar with her work as portrayed by Jodie Foster in the movie Contact. Vera Rubin was an American astronomer who pioneered work on galaxy rotation rates. She uncovered the discrepancy between the predicted angular motion of galaxies and the observed motion by studying galactic rotation curves. This phenomenon was evidence of the existence of dark matter. Well, that's our sky for this week. Thanks for joining me at our virtual planetarium. Please subscribe to our channel, like our video, and share it with your friends. We look forward to seeing you in the real planetarium in the future. Until then, keep looking up.